Three, two, one. There we go. Jeff, what's going on, man? Welcome. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on, Eric.
Dude, I
That
am
is your name,
pumped.
right?
Yeah.
It is Eric. Eric for president.
I think it's like a pseudonym or something.
Yeah.
No. But let's jump right into it real quick. And just for the viewers who are here, obviously, I think I might be, you and I have talked a bit, so a little more familiar with it. But for the people listening, give them a little background. What's Blackbox? It can be the summary version or however much you want to share. We'll dive deeper into it. And your role there, of course. That way we can set the stage for the conversation we're about to have.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, feel free to stop me to elaborate on whatever or however you want to steer the conversation.
I got a lot of questions for you, but we need to lay some groundwork for what's going on with you guys.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so my name is Jeff Bull Jr. I'm a VR developer over here in Boise, Idaho. And I work with a company called Blackbox VR, which is a VR fitness company. And I guess to lay some of the groundwork there, we're an in-person, location-based VR gym. And I work on the game side of that. And so our locations, we pair a robotic resistance cable machine that provides real weight, and we pair it with a competitive 1-versus-1 strategy, I guess like a strategy game, kind of similar to the likes of, you'd probably like, so it has some MOBA elements, some tower defense elements, but
kind of like what, Clash of Clans maybe? I think that's like something I saw when you guys were playing it.
Yeah, Clash Royale more specifically is definitely an inspiration, but it's more of a tug of war style strategy game. But you're using this robotic cable resistance machine to do your exercises. And like the example I like to use is you're doing a chest press and you're shooting like a laser beam out of your chest to go destroy enemies on the field and to go against your opponents. We have a variety of various compound exercises as well as a few more targeted exercises like bicep curls or tricep push downs. But we have things like deadlifts or chest press or squats, lat pull downs, etc. That you're using a combination of all of these exercises to battle it out. And because it's in this digital realm, we can use a lot of really awesome technologies to help progress you and push you harder and get you to your fitness goals in a more automated way. We adjust all the weights for you, or the AI specifically does in the game, adjust all the weights for you in your progression. And we build the gameplay like curve while you're playing to give you a super awesome workout that you actually gain muscle from. So it's all resistance training. And we throw in a couple like cardio based movements in there to get your blood pumping, your heart going. And you're doing it all in VR. VR fitness is something that all of us at Blackbox are super passionate about. Not only Blackbox, but of course, like other things, like especially Quest. Quest is awesome for fitness in general and for VR fitness. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on. And
what I think is really, I talk to a lot of developers and they're all very humble, and I don't think they brag quite enough, because you said something where you are guiding them. You're building this plane, you're adding the weights, you're forcing them to get better. Let's not understate that. And I think I need to build a little bit of a context, because if you are not a gym goer, meaning in person, so I'm not talking if you work out, cool, but in person gym working, it's hard to go to the gym. It's hard to do this. And we put a lot of onus on the individual for having to make that decision to go out. But no one ever brings up the fact, it's not spoken about. And I really, really applaud you for being that person who's pushing and caring, because for those in the chat, traditionally, the business model for in-person gyms, the resistance gyms, are for you not to show up. They actively want to find ways, subliminally or just by making things a little harder than they have to be, for you not to show up. There is no incentive for a current gym for you to show up because there are occupancy laws. And if they and their business model is about getting as many people to subscribe or be a member of that gym. But if every person in that gym who signed up showed up, there would not be enough equipment. They'd hit occupancy, and their limit on equipment is going to get hit well before occupancy. So everything at a traditional gym banks on you not showing up. But then you have people like Blackbox out there, from what I hear and what you just said, that are finding ways to encourage you to come up. We're gamifying this fitness, and we'll get into more about Blackbox, but that kind of sets the stage for how ridiculous fitness is. We put all this onus on the individuals for not going. Why didn't they go to the gym? Why not? Well, that's because the business is set up not to have you go. And I'm assuming that's probably something Blackbox, because it's a pretty in-depth system. I mean, you got limited space for this. That's got to be a concern of yours on mitigating that. But I applaud you, and I think you should talk more about inviting people, because you're actively encouraging fitness where other gyms really aren't.
Yeah, and definitely. It is something that we take seriously with Blackbox as a business, as we actually, and the businesses and corporations and whoever say this stuff all the time. They're trying to better you or make your life better or whatever. But like we actually do incentivize you to come to the gym on a regular basis. We have one of the earliest things that Blackbox implemented in our game is a streak multiplier or streak reward. So as long as you're coming every, I think it's there's a 78-hour window, or if you come once every 78 hours, so it's about 3 days plus a couple hours to account for just some extra buffer time in there. But we want you to come back to the gym once every 3 days. There are lots of studies out there that that kind of push for that consistency. And I'll like to make the disclaimer here that I'm a developer at Blackbox. I'm not a fitness expert by any means. I really enjoy fitness, and it's a big part of my life, but just want to put that disclaimer out there. But we do work with a lot of super knowledgeable people. The founders of this company have been in fitness for a very long time, and are very knowledgeable on these subjects and these studies. And we found that getting back to the gym once every 3 days in a consistent, and with that consistent effort, does give you the results that you're wanting. And we do want you to come back to Blackbox. We do want you to come back once or more every 3 days to help you achieve your goals. We have a fitness multiplier. This ties in right into the game, where every time you come in, it boosts your multiplier, and you have these little minions that kind of come out onto the field when you're fighting against, whoever. And these minions, we do give you a slight buff the longer your streak has been alive for. So I think we have it's 10 separate minion levels that you can upgrade your minions 10 times by continuing to come and having that consistent streak. It's something that really helps me come back to the gym consistently. And a lot of our members really like it, to the point where we have some members that right now have 160 consecutive workouts within 3 days that they've never missed. And they have some pretty large bonuses from it. And one of the other things, when you have a streak that's high like that, is you're less likely to, get lazy or not get your butt to the gym or whatever. And it's pretty incentivizing. So yeah, you're right. We are trying to get you into our facilities and use our equipment, and actually get your money's worth for your membership, for sure.
What's something like this cost? I am really curious on that.
Yeah. So the cost, so it does change depending on location. We account for, what the living costs are for where we are at. We have a partnership with a gym chain, EOS, right now, and they have gyms all over the West Coast, and are branching out more and more into the East as well. But we've partnered with gym chain EOS to actually have smaller Blackbox facilities inside of their gym. So I forget what it is. It depends on the location, but when you pay for an EOS membership, whether that's, I forget what it is, 10, 20, 30, whatever a month, depending on where you're at, and like whatever, tier you pick for all the different facilities you have access to. We come as a part of that. And so you do, when you're going to like an EOS gym or one of these gym chains that we're working with, you get their gym plus our machines. We also have a few of our own like boutique standalone gyms. Like we have one in Boise, Idaho, and we have one in San Francisco right now. And the Boise, Idaho one, we do charge per, it's like a per month session cap, I guess, subscription. So you can pay for a smaller amount of sessions per month. And that starts at somewhere like $30-$40 or whatever. And then it raises if you want like unlimited sessions per month. But we try to keep it competitive with the other either gym chains or the clubs around us. Because one of the awesome things about Blackbox, well, there's a lot of awesome things about Blackbox, and of course I'm super biased about it. But like,
man, like I said, be bold and boast about it. That's what you guys you deserve to. And by the way, when I bring up cost, I think that can come off a little bit like, how much does it cost? But you guys take it as a whole. You're figuring this out as you go. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but this is uncharted territory. You're the first, right? And being the first, you're going to be making some amazing decisions. You're going to be making some amazing errors. You are in uncharted waters, whether that's cost, how you came up with this type of game. It's not about the cost is the question of should you do it or not. I like it as more the thought process on how this all kind of formed.
Yeah, for sure. And we've actually made some iterations on our costs per location and over the years, trying to figure out like what is this worth to people? And a couple of things that factor into that cost is like, not only are we a piece of gym equipment, I guess you could say, we are a novel piece of gym equipment. And some people could be like, oh, that's gimmicky or whatever. And I get that, it's new. There's always these crazy gym or fitness gimmicks coming out all the time that may or may not work. So we have that whole aspect of it. But what's really cool about Blackbox as a product is you basically have a personal trainer built in with the AI, because we're pushing you. We can raise and lower your weights to 1/10 of a pound.
Oh, wow.
And the AI will start you off when you're first starting out with Blackbox. It does analyze and it tunes the weights to your performance and how well you can do. And we're always trying to get you into a specific range of like that 8 to 15 rep range, or we're trying to get you to failure. Or at least, like a 1, 2, 3 reps left in the tank kind of situation to make sure you have that muscle stimulus. So we have like that personal trainer kind of aspect built in. And with our Blackbox app, this is like one of the things I super love about it is we have an app for your phone that when you're doing all of these workouts, we're tracking all of the statistics. And you have a profile from the day you start Blackbox where you can see a graph. Oh, my bad. You can see a graph of where you started and where you're at. And you can see down to 1/10 of a pound how much you're gaining as you're going along. And so like you'll see like in my graph, like you'll see like me gaining and gaining and gaining. And there's like some situations, of course, like in COVID where, we're stuck at home and stuff, and I had a couple injuries. And so I hadn't gone back for a little bit, and, it was kind of sad, but you see like that drop in the graphs, and then I'm building back up again, which is super motivating. And with like an app like this, you can really tune and see your progress in real time, how much and then since it's pushing you kind of like automatically like that, is progressing you don't need to worry about like, what weights am I using? Is this enough weight? Am I doing the right exercise? Am I using the right piece of equipment? And that's a whole other subset of our business that is pretty exciting, and once again kind of novel in the whole fitness areas. We're tracking a pretty big number of data points on your workout and that we can show you, so you're actually seeing I guess like digital numerical proof of your progress for when the
For,
times when like you're looking into the mirror and you don't feel like you're getting any progress, but it's like, no, you are. You're getting stronger.
yeah,
And I know that like, yeah.
I like. I want to. So that I want to circle back to that. And for those just joining, we are. This is Jeff. He is a developer behind Blackbox VR, which is a physical, location-based resistance weight training program with VR. And I want to dive a little more into like the headspace of this all for the people, because I think about this a lot. I was at the gym today and I look around. It's hard, like we said, it's hard to go to the gym for many reasons, especially if you're out of shape, because you think everyone's looking at you. People feel like they're always being judged, which I think is a huge, and I cannot stress this enough. I will get angry if I talk about this too long. It's a huge failure of our society on how we've labeled gyms and the culture there, because to be honest, I don't give a fuck who you are or what you look like. When you come into a gym, you could barely fit through the door. I don't care. You are now part of the tribe. I don't think everyone understands that. The second you walk into a gym door, you're part of a tribe. And everyone in that room literally applaud, like, we applaud you. I don't care what you are. You're in there, you're my family now. And now you're part of the tribe and I will defend you to the death. And I love that mentality. But the headspace that I like to kind of think about is now when they're coming to you and strapping a headset, kind of dissipating now all those social fears and the prize that they normally think. Do you think that's, are we creating more of an isolated gym experience? Are they somehow, is there some type of aspect where they're still feeling like there's other people in the gym? I know you said it was a head-to-head battle, but, are we still building that tribe with this type of training, or is that tribe mentality now going to change a little bit where we're isolating a little bit inside a headset?
Yeah, I'm happy you asked that because that's something we're tackling at this very moment. VR, I know at us in the VR industry, there's definitely arguments to be made whether VR is more isolating or more social. And I think it depends, of course, like on the experience you're having in VR. And to kind of paint a better picture of Blackbox, when you walk into a Blackbox, a gym, we have these booths and they're isolated booths where you have your privacy. You walk into this booth, you close the door, and it's you in the headset. And the booth is super cool looking, but it's like pretty plain. But once you put the headset on, you're in, this crazy arena, this crazy world, all the fun stuff VR provides for you and the visual and auditorial like aspect. But one thing we're working on right now, which I'm super happy and excited about, is we are trying to make potentially, if you want it to be, which is important because we're giving you the choice, but if you want it to be, this potentially could be the most social gym experience you can possibly have. I'm getting notifications right now on my phone about how the people because you can add people as your friends on the Blackbox app, and all my coworkers and all my friends who are going through and doing their workouts right now, it's like notifying me like, hey, they beat the boss that they were fighting against or whatever. And you can like go in and see people's progress if they, make that public, and be able to like message each other and comment on the feed and show support that way. And we're implementing we're implementing a team system right now where, hopefully soon, eventually, you're going to be able to join these teams with your friends and then progress towards like team goals. Like, let's say like a team goal is like, we want to, the team goal for this month is to lift X amount of volume of weight. And you as a team need to go to the gym and lift, play the game. And those numbers will start stacking up for those goals. And once you reach those goals, your team gets, loot or in-game currency or sweet like banners or different like items you can equip to your to your player and all those different things. And we're really trying to, and eventually in the future be awesome if we had like some more like cooperative modes and stuff, so you can like bring your friend to the gym and play with them at Blackbox. And that's something we've been working on the past probably 6 to 12 months to make it a more social experience, because I think it can be by default a little more isolating just because you're by yourself, you're there, which for some people that's awesome. For some people that is a plus for the Blackbox experience. And I definitely do enjoy it, like, because you go in there and you're just by yourself and you can, make all the crazy faces you want and, whatever. And, you know, no one is looking at you, whether we should be caring or not, but no one is. And so it's super nice to be able to have some of that privacy, but you're able to share your successes with other people and kind of like help uplift your friends and your teammates in that way.
Yeah, it goes back to why it's so important of what you guys are doing. You're empowering people. You're empowering them to make the choices they want, but in this new virtual world that, again, it's kind of an oxymoron. We say it all the time, but it is an endless world, and you guys can make anything you want out of it. And additionally, you can make any type of game you want out of it. I was actually watching, I kind of wrote his name down, Ryan Trahan. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. He seems pretty popular on YouTube, but I watched a video of his this morning where he was doing like I think a 2 week fitness challenge. And it was comical. The guy was kind of in decent shape already, so I don't know really. It was a huge transformation video, but what I took from it, going back to what you brought up about, gamifying this, is it wasn't actually about the game. I mean, he played Beat Saber, he Thrill to Fight, the games that are traditionally going to be marked as fitness games. But he was also playing Blade and Sorcery and other games. And virtual reality provides this window where it doesn't need to be a fitness game. It doesn't need to pigeonhole someone into this is fitness, this is what you're going to do, this is what it's for. It's about how you play the game, because inherently all virtual reality games are more physical than traditional gaming. And depending on how you embody the character, how you embody that virtual space, you could turn any game into a cardio experience. You could turn any game into anything you want. And that's why when I hear the original description on how this is like the Clash Royale type game, it could be any game. It could be anything. And as long as these people are bought into your vision and feel empowered to play the way they want, it turns into an exercise. And that's really important.
Right. No, I agree. And that's one of the things that I think we're trying to do differently at Blackbox is there is some awesome value to some more core fitness type experiences in VR, like FitXR or Supernatural, that they're really targeting like this is a fitness experience. And I think there's some great value to that. And on the other hand, I think there's great value to games that are just awesome games to begin with that happen to be fairly physical. Like I use Beat Saber, and a lot of us at Blackbox, we use Beat Saber as our cardio for the day. I was just playing earlier with my coworkers. We took a Beat Saber break in the middle of the workday. Because while it's not a fitness game necessarily, it gets your heart pumping, gets you moving, it gets mobility in there, and it's a super great fitness experience. And I think with Blackbox, we're trying to create a really fun, awesome game that you can just play, that you happen to be getting stronger while doing it. And of course, like there's scenarios, of course, like you're lifting weights, and it is apparent that you are using energy and expelling energy to do these actions in the game, but you take some of the grind out of it, I guess, of like a traditional like lifting experience, where you may go a little harder than you would have otherwise, because you're trying to like take down a specific enemy or hit these certain numbers, because like you're trying to push yourself. And I think there's been some studies flying around in like the VR space as well, where like VR has like that time dilation effect, where it feels like when you're in VR, it feels like 5 minutes when it was probably like 10 minutes or whatever it is like that. And that is definitely true once again in like the black box sphere, or just fitness games in general, I think, for VR, which is something we try to take advantage of. Like when you're in there, it feels like you're in there for like 2/3 of the time than you actually are. And because like you're playing a game, much like a sport, you aren't focused on like, oh man, like this, I'm just lifting this weight, it's not as fun or whatever, or like, you're bored or whatever. Like since you're playing a game, you have extra goals that you're trying to achieve. It kind of gets your mind off of maybe some of like the more core, like low level, like, I don't know, muscle activation parts that lifting can, kind of bore some people with.
I can understand that fully. Is there
Yeah.
now has there been like you brought up, studies on the time dilation, which I've been reading into those, which is amazingly true. I did the entirety of Half-Life Alyx all in one sitting, and I think that was like 11, 12 hours. Did not feel like that. It felt like that just, ache and pain wise, because that was a lot of standing and moving around, but it did not
Right.
feel like that for time. But as far as studies go for virtual reality weight training, I can't imagine there's much at all. I mean, even on if you look at what bodybuilding.com, T Nation, all these men's health, there is a lot of bro science, and there's just continuously evolving things that work traditionally, but for virtual reality, I can't imagine there's anything out there. I don't know how you guys are basing this, if there's safety concerns that you worry about with you're in a virtual world, but you have to have the embodiment still IRL for what you're holding, and physically moving. I mean, I'm going all over the place with that one, but
Yeah.
has there been any studies on this kind of stuff?
Yeah. So there hasn't been like a ton that I specifically know of. That being said, we are working with UCLA over in California they're doing a study on Blackbox and using their machines, and they are trying to get like the nitty gritty details out of that. And I don't know when that's supposed to wrap up, but it's underway at the moment, which I'm pretty excited about. I know that we have a lot of fitness professionals who've been doing it for a very long time. Our CEO Ryan DeLuca was previous CEO of bodybuilding.com.
Oh,
Same
wow.
with our other co-founder Preston Lewis. Once again, was
Wait, can I hear
involved
that
in
again? So the CEO of Blackbox was, you said, CEO of bodybuilding.com? Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
yeah, correct. So like, yeah, the our co-founders and a lot of the people at the executive level have been in the fitness industry for a long time, and are very knowledgeable on just, I guess, fitness related, everything under the sun in that way. And we do work with a lot of awesome, smart people to handle some of this stuff. We have super awesome engineering team, and like safety is one of our, as it should be, highest priorities with a system like this, just because, lifting weights can be dangerous for
Well,
obvious reasons. And, a system like this needs to have all the fail safes to make sure that you're good. And yeah, we do spend a lot of time making sure our machines are as safe as possible while you're doing them. But yeah, there's definitely, and like I said before, like I'm a VR developer who is trying to be fit and trying to bulk up and do my thing. So like I'm learning a lot as I go in this process and learning from awesome people. And it is nice, like, working in a job that it's encouraged that, I need to go work out to test this product. It's kind of a fun thing where going to the gym is a part of my job. But yeah, I'm kind of blabbing along
no, it's
here,
all right.
but like,
I
yeah,
think it's frustrating, man. It really is frustrating because I mean, I'm 31. I started working out when I was like 16. I got kind of more serious about working out when I hit about 21, 22, started graduating college. And I mean, for anyone who wants to laugh a little bit, I am 178 pounds right now. I graduated high school at 125. I graduated college at 150. Tiny little things. So it's a big fitness journey. But with all the positive stuff that's come out of that journey, I've seen a lot of negativity. It just fitness has not evolved at all. I see nothing. The traditional structure, like we talked about, of gyms actively not wanting you to participate or even be there. Planet Fitness is a big example of that. All these other gyms, they don't want you to be there. That has not evolved at all. That's actually devolved, if anything. Gym memberships, you cannot cancel them. They're impossible to cancel without going through hoops. There's nothing about the fitness industry that I've seen since I started working out at 16 to the time I'm 31 that I have seen get better. The equipment's the same. They're still using the same Lifetime Fitness or all these machines. They're the same stuff. And I worry that the public perception of working out and health, because the industry's not evolving, well, the mindsets aren't going to evolve. And if anything, the mindsets, we're only getting more body conscious. We're only getting more, social media is only putting more and more pressure on people that if you're this or that, you need to go to the gym, which is only going to make it harder. And it's really frustrating not seeing things evolve. And I have a kid. I want to see fitness evolve like everything else in this world. And that's why what you guys are doing is so important. But on a tangent, what are you playing right now? What's going on with VR unrelated to fitness that is keeping you motivated to keep things like this going?
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, and I do want to tag on to what you're saying
Yeah, keep going,
about
man.
about fitness, having like fairly little evolution over the years. And we're seeing like, new clubs or maybe fitness strategies or fitness lifestyles. You're seeing like the Orange Theories popping up, and you've seen like the rise in like CrossFit and all these different like fitness things that different people are getting into. But yeah, you're right. Like the equipment has more or less stayed the same. And I think for good reason in some ways. Obviously it can work. And I mean, it's pretty, some of the equipment can be pretty like dummy proof and pretty simple. And, at the end of the day, you're picking stuff up and putting it back down. But we're in an era that can really be iterated upon and made a lot better. And I think that's something that we fully believe. I think with VR and some of the machines that like we've created and potentially, will create, in the future, like we can make fitness more fun, more engaging, and make it more accessible to a crowd where the traditional like iron or those gym, chains don't work if they don't work for you.
Well,
And
yeah.
and
It's one of those things too, kind of the pick, it's not about does the old way work or not? Because
right.
yeah, the old way works. I mean, it's proven. I mean, you lift things up, put them down, start light, work heavy, slowly. It's gonna work over time. I get it, but just because something works doesn't mean it doesn't need to evolve. Attention spans are tiny.
Exactly.
The attention spans might be tiny, or they might be large, but there's too many things demanding attention every day, and more things that are exciting are taking that attention away. If the gym's not evolving, it's not exciting. And
Mhm.
just because it works, just because it's healthy, just because it could be done, doesn't mean it will be done. Um, and that's what's frustrating is you look at the current gym right now. What comes to my mind is like Pumping Iron with Arnold and all these movies that honestly are not going to gain any attention from anyone. There is no kid right now who is normal who's going to watch Pumping Iron and be like, yeah, that's how I want to do things. It's going to be outdated. It's going to be something that looks boring. Track your stuff on your phone. Keep doing the same thing every day. It's not exciting. So when I say things need to change and fitness needs to accelerate, it's not because there's anything wrong with what is going on right now. It works, but it's boring. And we
Yeah.
need to keep evolving to keep that interest because once you give up on yourself, give up on health, it just snowballs from there. It really does. And I don't think you don't need to look like Arnold. In fact, I think the bodybuilders these days look ridiculous, but we still need to be making this enticing to people.
Yeah, I agree. Cause yeah, like you said, like it can work, but like it's in like, we're kind of talking about right now, like it works for a specific group of people. And like you said, there's a lot of people coming up as, whether they're kids or, fitness beginners that the the old way just doesn't work for them. And it's very apparent. It's very apparent that like the old way doesn't work for a lot of people. Or else everyone would be doing it. I think like we kind of like at Blackbox, it's like, I think, what do we say? Like our biggest competitor is the couch.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And like, but and that's one of the things when Blackbox was created, like when the company was created, is like, well, video games are addicting. No, people aren't going to the gym. How can we take this very addicting, very fun thing that we all love doing and make it healthy and make it improve your life in a physical and mental way. And I think, yeah, I know you're totally right. And I think, yeah, just because it works doesn't mean that we shouldn't try to make it better. And it's obvious that there's a pretty big void in the fitness industry for a lot of people, and we're trying to see if we can help fill that and get more people into a healthier lifestyle.
The numbers are showing that, though. I want to read off just something. I don't know if I just found this website very recently, the Virtual Reality Institute of Health and Exercise. It's one hell of a site. It's literally going through every game imaginable under the sun, letting you know expected, level of difficulty, if it's going to be more cardio, walking, elliptical style, how many calories per minute. But it really shows how popular VR fitness has been getting. Just a couple stats here, which I thought was pretty interesting. Bringing Beat Saber, I mean, it's the gold standard of anything. There were 4,619,529,000 calories burned in Beat Saber since its release. That's a lot. It's an average of 6.55 calories per minute. In this one game alone, over 4 billion calories burned. That's powerful. That's powerful. Because how many of these people where that's the equivalent of running the earth 1,400 times, 9 million hours of aerobics? How many of those hours were for someone who would have never, ever stepped in the gym, who would have ever said, no, I'm not doing this. That's not for me, because whatever the reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just Beat Saber alone. And to me, that's ridiculous. And I remember when Supernatural came out with their model, their subscription model, their personal trainer, that got a lot of pushback. I was even kind of pushback, and I have to correct my ways that was incorrect to me. We're just finding different ways to appeal to different people, and we shouldn't be pushing back on any type of VR fitness because they're just trying. They're trying to figure it out. We're all trying to figure this out. Supernatural figured out, hey, we're going to try a subscription model. We're going to bring personal training. We're going to bring music that people know, very big name music, and get people interested that way. You have Beat Saber being the gold standard of fitness. I don't know if that's where they ever went for, but they've made it that way. I think Thrill of the Fight is a whole different type of physical activity. That one destroys me. But everyone's trying to figure it out. I just wish it got more traction. I really do. It bums me out that it doesn't.
Yeah, I know, I agree. But the numbers are there. We're seeing huge gains in interest in VR fitness. And you're seeing, even Oculus, they're pushing the Quest more and more as a fitness device.
Yeah, they got billboards now.
Yeah, they got the billboards, and I think just like their advertisements, they're trying to push it as a fitness device. And of course, Oculus has their own, set of goals they're trying to reach for, their headset, being gaming or productivity or whatever. But fitness is one of those really big killer apps that VR has. It's like you said, it's an inherently physical experience, for the most part. And so it's really easy to make fitness games for virtual reality. Like, we've been trying to make fitness games for a long time. You look at even like games like Dance Dance Revolution, which maybe isn't like a fitness game, but like it's one of the first games I remember.
Yeah. People can turn that into a fitness game real quick.
Totally. But like, and then you even see like when like the Kinect came out for Xbox, and they were trying to make fitness experiences for that. We've been trying to make
all that.
Yeah. Like all the Wii Fit stuff. Like we've been trying to gamify fitness for a long time. And I feel like, they've always required some, peripheral, or just never really felt right. It always felt pretty shallow. But like virtual reality is, I think, like one of the first, in my mind, like, I guess, like hardware mediums where you're able to actually, you're you. Like we have one of our, taglines in Blackbox is your body is the controller. Because it really is. Like, when you walk into Blackbox or like other VR games, like your actions are your physical movements. And I think we're seeing more and more and more pickup with people realizing that they can use their VR headsets for fitness, and are getting headsets for fitness. And I think especially like with the past year with quarantine and everything, Quests were flying off the shelves and still are. And you're seeing like a huge uptick in like those fitness games. And we're seeing a lot of, seems like we're getting more impressions, and more people are accepting VR as like a fitness medium. But yeah, like it's getting there. It's getting there. I would totally love it to be, higher for sure. But I think
in
we're
the
getting.
chat, Shughead, and I appreciate the comments, guys. Um, he does bring up it's what I've been thinking. I've got the hardware is probably the limiting factor right now to many. I know people at the beginning of this conversation. I apologize, I didn't see the name, but they were talking about it's not comfortable enough for long term use. It's fogging up, things like that. What's your experience with the people coming to Blackbox? I'm assuming you guys are using PCVR based headsets, but what is the general consensus, especially with first time people coming in
Mhm.
using VR? What are you hearing right there? First impressions from people.
Yeah. And I like some people do bring up like one of the first things some people bring up is like what's the sanitary measures you're taking? Like you're putting a headset on and you're getting all sweaty in it and giving it to someone else. So like there's like ergonomics that play into it. Yeah, it's the comfort of the headset, it's the displays, making sure it fits right. But yeah, those are all things that, especially in our iteration process, we've kind of crash coursed and have solved. But maybe the first one for like sanitation is like a big one. There's a company called Cleanbox, and I know that some people in the VR industry are more familiar with them, but they essentially clean the headset with UV light, which we've seen in some various studies and just some various tests that it does so in a pretty awesome way. And so like for one of those situations where you stick it in that, it cleans off like all the germs that you're going to encounter with a headset like that. We wipe the headsets down and we clean them super well. We also use VR cover. I forget what the material is. It's like that like leatherette or
Mm-hmm.
like what I'm talking about. It's like
Yeah, I don't know the name of it though either.
I
I
forget what
can't
it is,
help.
but yeah, it's like a washable, interface for your head. It's not the one that comes on your headset that's like foam and gets all
Mm-hmm.
damp and squishy
Sure.
and stuff. Like we use super cleanable materials in the headset, and it's super sanitized every time someone is using one. And we use Vive Pros currently. Maybe Vive Pros 2s maybe eventually would be pretty cool. But yeah, we use the HTC Vive Pro, and with those like additions like the VR cover, and like I guess like the comfort options you have with that, it's a highly configurable headset for everyone's different like head shapes and head sizes and IPD and all of that. And so we kind of walk you through when you come into our experience, whether it's one of our trainers who are helping you out when you're getting, fitted for the first time, or when you're just walking, we have like video tutorials that teach you to adjust the headset the right way. And we used those like ceiling cable, what do they call it? The ceiling cable spring loaded like cable. Wow, I'm totally
Yeah,
spaced.
I know what you're going with here.
All these specific like
The
hardware
Kiwi
pieces
cables
for
and all
the.
that.
Yeah, I'm the software guy, so like I'm like, yeah, the thingy that holds the thingy, but yeah, it holds the cable up out of your way, and the whole system's kind of designed. So once you put the headset on, and once you're in the game for 20-30 seconds, it goes away. You don't think about it. But yeah, no, it's yeah, people do wonder about that, and I think like headsets are getting better all the time. Like when new headsets are coming out, we're gonna be upgrading to those and making sure that like our experience is the best it possibly can be for people coming into VR. And I think like VR, we're still seeing some of those like uncomfortable situations where like you're getting eye strain or headaches
Mm-hmm.
or it's not fitting right or whatever. And we're doing our very best to
Yeah,
make
I
it as
mean
comfortable as possible.
you have an impossible task. Let's be honest. You have an impossible task of taking fitness, which is already hard enough to get people to do, then
Right.
taking virtual reality and all the hardware and software issues that come with it. Because again, I mean, I've said it a million times, when especially early days of PCVR, if you weren't having a tech issue at one point with Steam VR, were you even playing VR? I
Right.
don't know.
Exactly.
So you're running into all this, and then you run into even newer hardware, because I'm sure as Blackbox keeps moving forward, you're going to want to try new things. I think I'm trying to transition smoothly into a question from Finally Functional in the comments. But you will be adding possibly, right now you're focusing on traditional-ish physical movements, whether, like you said, tricep extensions, bicep curls, bench press with the machines you have. These are traditional movements. But eventually, as the hardware moves forward, you might bring in VR locomotion items like cyber shoes, maybe not specifically cyber shoes, but that functionality of now we're using our legs a little more. Now we're using our full body to work out. And his question really was just how these will play into maybe Blackbox themselves, or if you see this becoming more of a functional system.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the more stuff that comes out that we can utilize to get you moving and make the experience more immersive and more exciting, we're gonna try them. Like we've even dreamed up, like, you even dream up a situation right now where we have a bigger room. It's a wireless headset. You have your cyber shoes or whatever, and you're running around and, activating different exercises by going to potentially, different machines. Like one of the things we do at Blackbox right now is we map the real world to the game. I think if anyone has seen like those like kind of viral videos or gifs going around, someone's like, oh, I mapped my apartment out in VR, and like
Those are beautiful.
they show their apartment and they put their headset on, and then it's like all the same, but it's in their headset. We do that in Blackbox. So when you have the machine, it's mapped out in the game. So when you're touching the machine in the game, you're actually touching the machine in real life as well. And it's really easy to imagine a awesome system where like there's different machines around. Potentially, you have like these whatever, you're running around like a full scale like arena scale room, or you're inside the small room and you have like the 360
sure.
Treadmill or
mills,
something.
all that.
But yeah, the more stuff that comes out, the more stuff that we can figure out, we're going to utilize it. Yeah, we're definitely not, like we've talked about before, we're trying to innovate and we're trying to make fitness a more exciting, better experience. We're not trying to we're not gonna get lazy and sit around on old stuff for sure.
The whole, it's interesting. I like always moving forward, trying new things, but at the same time, I am a little skeptical personally of some of the locomotion accessories, because, especially in a fitness setting, because granted, this is new territory. We're learning how to work out in virtual reality, but at the same time, fitness is going to have to use natural motion. We can't train someone when having to relearn how to walk. So, for example, if we're going to be using a slide mill, I don't know if you've ever used one. I have. It is absolutely not my natural gait. If I want to use them, I'm going to have to retrain how I move. And if now we're using it for a fitness setting, that's just one extra hurdle now to train someone how to A, use it, B, become more natural using it, but C, also mitigating injury, because now we're changing our gait. And if we're changing the gait in a workout setting where you're going to be pushing these people harder and harder for extended amounts of time, well, if the body's now using a whole new gait, you're using accessory muscles that you may have not used, and now I'm seeing injuries happening more. Ideally, I like your comments. I think the right now, at least with where the tech is, if we're going to be using our legs, I just want it to be bigger and bigger room scale. I think people naturally moving is going to be the quickest way to get buy-in, to have fun, to make it work. I am not fully sold, and if anyone in the chat has a better experience, let me know. But I'm just not fully sold on slide mills, cyber shoes, and locomotion strategies like that, because we're just having to change too much of how we just move and walk naturally. That's whole re-education there. You can't train someone and then entirely re-educate them on how to walk. That's just not feasible.
Oh, totally. Yeah, and that's something that is pretty important to us, is making sure when people come into Blackbox that, some people, it's their first time ever using VR at all, and we have to take that into consideration when we're teaching you how to use the systems. And luckily with Blackbox right now, it is, there pretty much is no extra interface that you have to deal with. It's literally just you and your hands. And so, when we have buttons and stuff, you're pressing the button with your hand, just like in a lot of other VR experiences. We don't use any artificial locomotion or anything, because we found that just, it's extra confusion. It's extra like that cognitive overload that like you don't really need to be really dealing with in a situation, especially a new situation or a situation where, there's heavy weights involved. We don't want there to be, safety factors, especially with like a 360 like treadmill. Like if there was one that was awesome that a first timer could get on and they were like, sweet, like I can walk the same, it feels great, then like, yeah, you bet that, we are going to at least like talk about it and consider it. And, is this going to work? Like we all use Blackbox as our gyms, as our fitness routine. And so like, if it doesn't work for us, we're not gonna, get other people to be doing it. But yeah, no, it's true. It's like, yeah, the different the locomotion problem is in VR is definitely a problem. It's something that I think a lot of us VR developers spend a lot of time thinking about. And if you aren't thinking about it, then people are probably getting sick in your game. But yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. I
It's a
mean,
hard one for sure.
we're just all trying to, it's a process of just creating a space where these people feel natural enough but engaged. And it might work kind of like what you and I were talking about before the stream even started, kind of like horror games. It's kind of why they work. It's
Right.
You are so immersed in that the re-education on how to act in those is just insane. I mean, can we just talk about horror games for a second? Because there is no other VR experience that I've had ever in my life that I feel more of an embodiment of whatever character I'm in there. I was playing, you ever played Dread Eyes or ever heard of that?
No.
It's a messed up game. But I mean, there's just a scene where you're getting wheeled off in a wheelchair. You're strapped to it, and someone's right in your face with a pair of scissors and stabbing right in your face. And never have I felt more connected in the worst possible way than that game before. And I think about this is weird. I don't know why this thought came in my head, but why not get fitness so bodying like that? What if there was a VR horror game, but it acted as a fitness game? It got you so built in there that we can add artificial locomotion, kind of like Hot Dog's hand grenade. I mean, I always butcher that game's name. H3 VR. Yeah. But where they have the arm swinging locomotion system in there, which I think is heavily underrated. It works very well in that game. But what if a horror game was built with that kind of locomotion in mind? And now where you might be, in a lot of VR games, work at your own pace. Why Blade and Sorcery, when that guy was playing that video and trying to use it for workout, it didn't work because he was playing it casually and playing it fun. But if you're in a horror game where your mind is now completely immersed, that's the situation, and the game's designed around escape, I'm going to be going way overboard. Exaggerated motions, just like I have exaggerated motions when I play Thrill of the Fight. There's no resistance. I'm going way overboard, and that's leading to one hell of a workout. So I'm curious to see if we can just take some non-workout specific games like horror games and turn them into not only an engaging game, but a workout at the same time. My mind just went there, and that's what I want now. Now I want that.
That would be awesome. Like we've definitely joked about, because at Blackbox and just like in general, like with like horror games or using them as a fitness thing. Like how motivated would you be to do your exercises if like something crazy bad was coming at you and was going to kill you or whatever? I think, did you ever play? I never played it, but there was like an iPhone game. Maybe it's still around, but it used like Google Maps or something, and it created a zombie horde in Google Maps, and it would be chasing you, and you would have to that's when you would go on your run for the day, and you would have to outrun the zombie horde as they'd be following you, on Google Maps or whatever. Which that kind of reminded familiar. Me. Yeah, you may have seen it, around, but I think it would be super awesome because, it's one of like the VR. One of its greatest strengths is like obviously immersion, and with like horror games in general, it's one of the genres, and like I was talking about this earlier, like horror games for me, they're one of my favorite genres in VR, and not at the same time. Like I love horror games, and even in like my personal projects that like I spend my time on, like I love creating horror style games because you are so immersed. And when someone's stabbing you in the eye or whatever in VR, you react to it because you feel that you're in that world. And I think horror, I'll buy a horror game on Quest or whatever. Like the most recent one I bought, like the Wraith.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't remember
Oblivion,
that.
Afterlife. Yeah.
Yeah, and like just playing that and just like being like so like tensed and like freaked out, like but like, and eventually I just put it down because I'm a baby. But like, I love that stuff because it really tricks your brain into feeling like you're in another world. And it's one of my favorite, yeah, for sure. Like horror games are one of my favorite things in
Well,
VR because of
also
that reason.
putting the horror games also back, maybe not in horror, but traditionally, you've got people doing positive methods of reinforcement to get people
Mm.
to work out. You've got negative reinforcements. Some people saying if you don't work out, you can't have this, have that. But it's interesting because is a horror game or like the zombie iPhone thing, is that negative reinforcement? I don't see it as negative. I actually see that as positive reinforcement, but using something that could be viewed as negative, getting caught by a zombie negative, but the gamification of that to me is a net positive. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a new way to think about fitness, because why does fitness have to be just about focusing like synth riders playing that and focusing on going expert plus? Why has it got to be about going harder and harder in fit XR? What if it was just a traditional game that the fail state of losing would be negative, that'd be getting killed or getting eaten by a zombie, but the reinforcement of getting through that, that's all positive because you're going to have that positive reinforcement when you accomplish that. So I kind of dig that zombie idea. I can see how that would work in theory, because it
Mm-hmm.
just plays off. It's negative at essence, but in reality, it's positive reinforcement.
Right. And I think you can use both. I think there might be potentially a danger to going one way and not the other. I think I think fitness, yeah, it's like a crazy like philosophical fitness question, especially when you're talking about like gamification, because like you have control over whether you're how you're reinforcing someone's actions in like a game. And like you see like I don't know, like you see a game like a battle royale, like a PUBG,
Mm-hmm.
Fortnite, Pop One, whatever it is. Like when you lose, it doesn't feel good. Like you're not like, oh dang, like I want to do this again because that felt so good. You're like, I want to do this again because that sucked and I want to get better. And like it has like a bit of that negative reinforcement, but once you win, it's like a huge
Mm-hmm.
positive reinforcement. It's giant. Like where other games, you see this a lot in like mobile games. When like whenever you do anything in a mobile game, it gives you a little bit of positive
Mm-hmm.
reinforcement. You click
Absolutely.
the thing, then of course when you buy the stuff, you get a big positive reinforcement. But I think, yeah, I think in like the fitness realm, it is definitely something that like we as like game designers think about um in like our fitness game. But like I think other people in other games have to think about as well, as like utilizing the positive negative reinforcements to get someone to do what your game wants them to do. Um, but yeah, it is an interesting thing to think about with like, yeah, like zombies are a horror thing where you doing your exercises or the fitness actions or whatever they are is because you don't want the negative thing to happen, which definitely, like whether I think a lot of games like they are able to kind of balance those well.
Yeah, and I really want to dive. I like the philosophical gamification of this all. Let's say 5-10 years, right? What is Blackbox's vision? And I don't need the big, not big picture like we want to be in this many states, this many locations. But when it comes to the gamification, from what you guys have already experienced, because you're going to have way more, you're going to really have the only data points for this out of anybody on what's working, what's not. Where do we take this gamification? Is it these mini game esque, reinforcement, small things to get people to keep coming back, or does the gamification go deeper, where we're going to embody our virtual beings in this new, I'm trying to say this the right way, but does it become so gamified where now it's more reality in that sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of goes into like some of like that metaverse, maybe the like a metaverse conversation as well, because everyone, some people in like the VR industry, or just when you're thinking about VR in general, like for some people, it's the end goal is like the metaverse, where your real life doesn't really exist in, like, it does, but it doesn't in like this metaverse. The metaverse is, yeah, like it is a verse inside of our current one. But and I think like for Blackbox, in 10 years, like the gamification of fitness, I think like, dang, yeah, I don't fully, I have some things that I would like to see, and I think fitness in general, like it'd be really awesome in like 5 or 10 years, for Blackbox or something like Blackbox to have a big enough presence where your actions in the Blackbox game, there, not only are you going to have like your physical results from that, hopefully you're, getting more physically healthy, and you're getting some mental benefits from just the exercise and all of that as well. But like I was trying to talk about earlier, with like some of the team aspects of gathering people together and supporting each other and making it a more social space, and kind of removing some of like hopefully we can be removing some of like the intimidation factors and stuff of like, some traditional gyms, or, in their business models, where, like you said, like if everyone who is subscribed, or a member of Planet Fitness went to Planet Fitness right now, it wouldn't work. Because, and part of that, it is like a space limitation, and there is some reason for that, but like they're trying to get as many people signed up as possible, so the most amount of money. But like, yeah,
well, let me give you an example of what I was thinking,
yeah,
too, because this might. So I just think, what would be a value add that takes what you would expect to happen in real life and translate that to virtual? One thing I think, like, what if my avatar, so let's just use VR chat for instance. What if my avatar is what I pick, but that avatar would also then develop similar to like I would IRL? So if I was working out in Blackbox and I had an avatar, then my avatar's body also changes, just like my physical body. So now when I look in a mirror, I'm not just looking at this avatar and picturing my real life body getting stronger. I'm embodying that avatar who's also working out in VR, who is now, his virtual body is changing VR, because we stare in the mirrors all the time in VR chat. What if I stared in the mirror like I do in real life and watch little minute changes here and there? Maybe my biceps start going bigger. Maybe my posture starts getting better in VR. These are the things that I think really would bring people back more and more. And I know this is, wait, I don't think the tech's anywhere near that for right now, but that's the type of ideas that I kind of want to see in the future, where not only does my IRL body change, but my virtual body embodies what I've been doing in there and changes as well. Like, that's powerful, powerful stuff in my mind.
yeah, for sure. And that we do try, and we've been working and we've been experimenting with this stuff, and we have it implemented, and we're considering, various aspects of kind of what you're talking about. Like, when your real life body changes, does the game change? And it does. Like, we have, the heavier you lift, the more damage you're going to do, for example. And you're going to level up like your specific exercises. So like, in a game like World of Warcraft or whatever, you have your spell or whatever, and you level that spell up. I don't think in WoW you don't level it up by like using it more, but like I don't know, maybe RuneScape's a good example, or whatever game that where you're using the, whatever it is, the spell or the attack, whatever, and it's leveling up in the game. And that's being leveled up by your repeated actions of clicking or doing whatever. Yeah, in Blackbox, like you kind of do see some of that right now, where our deadlift is called I space like it's like an ice blast type exercise. And like that specific exercise, when you look in the app, like mine is like level 16 right now, and that's tied to how much I can lift, which is not as much as a lot of these other people who are like level like 30, because they're lifting like close to like machine max, which our current machine max right now. And so like we definitely are seeing some of that, and we do want to try to play into that. Like, one of the things that we are trying to like leverage with the gamification of like fitness, and I think a lot of other people are, is like having those extra little added I guess like the positive reinforcement of like you go to the gym for a few months and you get a bit bigger, you get a bit more muscular, maybe you lose a bit of weight, but it takes like a potentially long amount of time for you to actually see those results. Where like in a game, you can see the result immediately, whether it's like an actual result in your body or we're just like saying, hey, you did it. Here's some in-game currency or a level up or whatever. But so we do like some of that, but we do try to, yeah, when you look at someone's profile in Blackbox right now and their level is tied to, I guess, like their effort and how much they lift and a couple other factors. So we do try to represent like your physical, I guess like your physical achievements.
Yeah, so you're
Virtually as well.
basically what you're doing in VR is, or what your body's transforming IRL does have an impact on the game. Now, negative reinforcement wise, I got to ask. Let's say they miss that 3-day cutoff. I know they lose some buffs, so but taking the buffs out of
Mhm.
there, just like in real life, if you skip for a while, you start to lose those gains. Does that happen
Mhm.
in the game as well, where your skills would decrease over time?
Yes, they do. They do.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that like you said, like we're early. We are. This is a new thing. Like there's been lots and lots of iteration. Even before like my time with the company, there's been tons and tons of iteration with like what feels good and what are people going to respond to, and like we're still doing that all the time. We're still studying every single day, like what the best options are. But yeah, like right now, like, yeah, if you don't go to the gym for a while, you come back and you do some exercises, our AI is going to go, oh, you can't lift that anymore. We're going to lower it down for you. But the levels of your attacks are going to lower as well. Now we do like with our matchmaking process, when you're getting paired with the different AIs that you're fighting against, we do try to keep you balanced. We're not going to like, get you crushed every single, just because like
Sure.
you're just a smaller framed person, and like someone like me where my lifts are considerably smaller than someone who is bigger and can lift a lot more. We can still have the same experience as far as like effort is concerned, and like a very similar game. But yeah, no, it is kind of brutal for sure.
I
And
mean,
so
I'm all
yeah,
for that. I mean, I think that
yeah,
brutality is amazing. I'm learning about Blackbox probably just as much as some of these people in the chat, and that's the kind of stuff that I wish I had heard a little bit ago, because I could have played off that for a while, only in the sense that that's the kind of stuff that I think takes virtual reality to the next level. I can jump in a game right now, go play it. I could be away from it forever, come back to the same game. That's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But to know that when I go to Blackbox, that what I do in virtual reality is not just a game. That is me building my virtual avatar, embodying that, and increasing that just as I am IRL. But just like in IRL, if I was to go away from that, to not show up at the gym, to do something stupid has an impact. That's embodiment. That's what this is all about. I think that's your biggest advantage over anything. I mean, I could see someone opening up a VR arcade with a focus on fitness and having people jump into Beat Saber, FitXR, Thrill to Fight, whatever. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But what did they take away from that? They got a good cardio workout. They had fun. They paid a little money, and it was a trip. They went to a destination, and now they're going to leave the destination. But you can't leave Black Box, the destination, because if you leave that, you're actually leaving yourself, and that is much more powerful than any game out there. So that is something I hope people take away from that chat, that this IRL in-person training isn't just you going to a destination and then leaving. You're
right.
going to that destination, but you're leaving your virtual avatar there, who is dependent on you, who is you, and will change depending on your actions. And that I can't think of any other experience IRL that is like that. That's really powerful.
Yeah, I think so too. That's one of the hard parts about Black Box right now, is because the more like when we get people, me one of them, like when I started going to Black Box as just a member like a couple years ago, when they had first just started up, and I was, of course, like I was a VR developer at the time. I'm a huge nerd. I'm into fitness. So I was, I'm like target demographic for that. But like a lot of other people that are like me who, whether they are into fitness or VR or not, um, we get these people who are severe, like who are really, really loyal to their black box experience. And it's because we provide all of that extra value. And one of the hard parts about black box is like explaining that easily to people. Like when you come to black box and you do a workout, you're going to feel the effects of it physically, but you're going to have all the extra, you're working towards something that's more than even just like your physical body. You're working, you're leveling up stats and characters. And what's cool about black box that you don't necessarily get at other gyms is like we release updates, we release patches, we release new content, and so things are changing. And so you're in this like evolving, I guess, fitness ecosystem that, yeah, when you do leave black box, it's not like it's not just like a one and done thing.
No, you're building
Yeah.
you're building someone a whole new virtual life. And through that virtual life that you're building for them, that virtual avatar that is improving as they improve, you're also building their real life. And that's why I want more fitness out there. This gets a little preachy, but it's real. Traditionally, fitness, we're building up ourselves, but we do that in a way with nothing but barriers. Um, but to build a virtual self that gives you the embodiment of forever possibilities, that at the same time builds your IRL self, that will translate into every other aspect of your life. It is insanely powerful stuff. I wish nothing but the best for Blackbox. You have no idea. I want you to have a location on the East Coast like pretty soon because I would love to come visit. One day if I'm over in Idaho, you know I'm going to be coming. But
Oh yeah.
this is the kind of stuff that transforms the world and transforms the way we think about our actions. And that is really what I want people to take away, if anything, from this long chat. But for time's sake, I do want to give you kind of an opportunity here. Pitch me the future of VR fitness. And I know I didn't tell you we were going to be doing this at all, but pitch me not like step by step where we have to be, but what's the future of fitness that gets people healthier, more excited, and more engaged to feel like they own this process? Because right now, I don't think anyone feels like they own their health journey. We're all getting pushed and pulled into what we can do. But what brings us to the point where we feel in control of being able to better ourselves health wise in the way we want to do it virtually?
Yeah. I think like right now, one of the bigger problems in just fitness in general, which I think a lot of us have been trying to solve and what we're trying to solve at Black Box, is fitness is a very like individual journey. Not every style of exercise or fitness strategy is going to work for every single person. And I would hope that, down the road in the future, VR fitness will allow greater choice for how you're getting your exercise in, especially the more and more digital we get, the bigger that VR gets, the more that we're having like all these screens and everything, all this data collection, I think specifically on data collection, like, wow, that's obviously it's a touchy topic. But it is something
we
that
can
like
get
a lot
into
of,
it if you want.
but yeah, like a lot of like, I think like data collection, like I'm a huge Apple Watch fan. And one of the reasons for that is because it tracks. I can track, I track my macros and my calories on it, and it auto tracks, just sleep or heart rate and all of this like extra health data, which is like helpful for me in some instances for just seeing like that, I guess seeing like the journey my body has been on. And like maybe at some point it'd be really awesome if when we have like better body tracking and better eye tracking and hand tracking and all of these other things. Like when you're doing fitness in VR, whether the VR headsets tracking that or other devices, we're able to prescribe better workout strategies for people and better fitness strategies for people, because everyone has their own ways to do things. And when you even get into things like injuries and stuff, like depending on like an injury you have, a lot of exercises are out the window and like your whole routine might be broken because of it. But like, the more data you can kind of have like on your body, you potentially can catch things like, for example, like in Blackbox, like we track your form is a big one. And like, usually when you're at the gym, you're looking in the mirror and you're trying to track your form, and by looking in a mirror at a gym. And we have a little more rudimentary like version of form tracking, which I would love to expand on. And I think like in the future, it'd just be awesome to be able to have like these data points if we're collecting them anyways, which we all know is going to happen. Hopefully we can use them for good.
Well, I don't want you to shy away from that, though. I mean, I know data collection is a touchy point, but in my opinion, the touchiness comes mostly from certain entities that sometimes are good with data, sometimes they're not, and there's a lot of trust issues. But you're in a more of a unique position with the consent of the people you work with. You come from a place, I think, that is more trustworthy. Whether that's earned or not, and whether the other companies have earned trust or lost it, that's a whole nother subject. But you come from a unique position where if they give you that consent, the biometric data that you can get, especially when we're talking about the ViPro 2 that you may be using, or once eye tracking, you have the ability to diagnose disease with consent, to prevent disease, to prevent injury, much more than just building muscle and helping cardio lose weight. With the right data, with the right permissions, the right consent, and the right understanding of how to interpret all of that, you literally could have people paying a nominal gym membership who are now getting better advice than their doctor could provide because it is preventative medicine at the same time. That's powerful stuff. And I know you said it's a touchy subject, and it is, but it's going to come down to the people behind the product who are collecting that data. And I don't think you're in a position where people are going to be as against it as I know you're trying to dodge that subject a little bit.
Totally. Yeah. And I think like for me, I think everyone has their own opinions about data collection. And some people are more cool about it than others. Some people are trying to, they're holing up. They're going to run to the hills and hide in a bunker. But like, I think they're obviously like, just like with any technology, it can be used for good and bad. And I think we're seeing, especially you see like in the pandemic and stuff, like us creating like these vaccines, like using the technology we have. Like, so I would love to be able to see, as technology gets better and better, that we can have these improved fitness experiences and be, like you said, like catch form and have these preventative medicines. And yeah, who knows, maybe one day some crazy algorithm can be like, oh, we're noticing this joint issue, this preventative joint issue that you need to be paying attention to, or yeah, like your form is bad, you keep doing that and you're gonna hurt something or whatever it is. And I think that'd be awesome to, in fitness, especially like being able to like analyze your body and being like, all right, using the data, we can prescribe these types of exercises for you because with your body type, and the muscle composition you currently have, these ones are going to be the most efficient and the best for you. Or, maybe one day it prescribes a game or whatever. It's like, oh, you like horror games, you like this, and you're this body type, and here's your goal. All right, boop, here's a game that, will be perfect for you. But, and that's like pretty, like, even that is just like a shallow, like, way of thinking. We can go as deep as we want with something like that. And I think in the future, I'm pretty excited for just health, wellness, and exercise as technology gets better and better.
Personally, if it comes down to it and I have the option to pick who I give that data to, I am all for it. It is, like you said, it's going to come down to the preferences of and a lot of trust. But why am I going my annual physical, for instance, if I call it annual, because it's really mostly like annual and a half to 2 years because I'm pretty bad at actually showing up. But what's that doing for me? I'm catching stuff when it's too late. If my cholesterol's going through the roof, I'm not going to know until my checkup. That's not
Right.
preventative at all. By then, I might be playing catch up and having to play defense and right there going on medication to fix it. But if I could have the trust that my data is being used for the right way and be preventative, maybe that is the right move. It does open up a whole can of worms with insurance companies, like Shug had brought up. It brings a lot of things where once that data is out there, there's no taking it back. But
Right.
why am I gambling with my health on hoping? Like right now, honestly, right now, when I eat, when I do anything, when I any choice I make, I'm gambling because I'm really not paying attention to it. I'm gambling that I'm hoping that's not going to go bad. But if every day giving the data points of eye tracking and all these other things that are possible, right now, people don't realize how much eye tracking actually can do. I can learn your sexual preferences. I can learn what you like, your turn on, your turn offs. I can learn everything about you. I can learn your state of mind on how sleepy you are, like how awake, when you woke up. Like literally with eye tracking, you can figure out when someone woke up and when they are most likely to go to bed by pupil movements. There is a lot of data to be farmed from
Yeah.
that. But to the right person, that could radically save a life. That could radically change a life. It's just going to come down to who's collecting the data and what stopgaps there are to make sure there's no harm. But I honestly don't think there's going to be any legislation that's going to get caught up with this quicker than someone is going to start using it. Let's just be honest.
Right. Oh, totally. That's like the hard part. But yeah, because like, but you see, like, I hear these stories all the time with like people's like Apple Watches where they're like, oh, my Apple Watch told me that I had, heart, arrhythmia or whatever. Went to the doctor. Sure enough, it caught it early enough that we were able to figure it out. And it's like, and we're still in early days of like these tech and health. And who knows, maybe one day it'll be cyberpunk and we're all cyborgs and that's when the VR is in our eyeball and all that and all of that. But, and then, something happens, you just replace it with a robotic technical part. But yeah, I'm pretty optimistic and pretty excited for the future of like health and wellness with all of that. Cause yeah, the data collection stuff that's a really, really big thing. That few of us, at least it feels like we have, control over, especially some of these larger companies where, yeah, sometimes the trust is definitely,
in my mind, it's not. This is what we have right now. It's not
yeah,
going anywhere. I don't know who can control it. All I hope is that the people who are in current control will do the right thing for us all. But that's all we can ask
yeah,
for. Um,
totally.
but I do think we're gonna call it on there.
Sweet.
Jeff, thank you for stopping by. I know this was very impromptu, but VR fitness, it needs more attention. I said it today on Twitter. I did a little searching on YouTube just to watch a bunch of, not listing off, the best games here or there, but to watch people's transformation stories, to hear personal anecdotes, to hear what's working, what's not, and they don't get any attention. And I understand why. It's no one's doing anything nefarious. It's a small niche. It's an algorithm that's going to drive to what people want right now. But the people doing the work right now in fitness, they will continue to keep doing so. I hope they do, and I hope they get the attention due. Guys, for everyone in the chat, again, Blackbox VR, physical VR locations. Please check them out if you're in the areas. You're in San Francisco and Idaho, correct?
Yeah, and we have a handful of locations across California and Arizona as well. So yeah, come check us out. You can go to our website, blackboxvr.com, and we have all the information for the locations we currently have. And then we'll, if you follow us on the socials, we'll definitely keep you guys updated when there's new locations opening up.
And I'll end it with this. If you are into VR fitness, I know there's a few of you in the chat who I see on everywhere talking about it. Be encouraging. Find the tribe. Once you know someone has VR, they're part of your tribe. Get them into VR fitness one way or another. Doesn't need to be through negative reinforcement or positive, but show them where it can help, where the benefits are. That's our tribe. It's no different than when someone walks through the door of the gym. You're now in my tribe, and you will be treated like my own family. No different than VR. But thank you to everyone who stopped by in the chat. Thank you again, Jeff, for stopping by. And as always, everybody, We'll see you next time.